Hey everybody, Hakaius here, and today it is time for another From the Hawk's Eye. Today is the review of Titanfall 2. All around the internet, the word was out. Titanfall 2 was a much better game than the original Titanfall, and the original was, allegedly, not bad. I say allegedly because I never actually played it, because I just don't have time to master multiplayer these days. But I was promised the sequel had a very good campaign by multiple people I trusted. I took them at their word, and here we are. A quick spoiler-free overview for those of you who want to otherwise be surprised. The campaign is, as you might expect from a first-person shooter, rather short. How Long to Beat says it's a little more than 6 hours, which sounds about right, even though it probably took me closer to 7 or 8. The meat of this kind of game is supposed to be the multiplayer modes, so that's fine. I do have to say, the story was a bit meh. If you compare it only within the shooter genre, it looks a little bit better, but if you're only here for the story, you might be a tad disappointed. There is exactly one interesting character, and it takes until very nearly the end of the game for him to get to that point. The gameplay, however, features some high-quality shooting mechanics, and the environments are richly detailed, even without being photorealistic. There is some really terrific level design with lots of complex, though not overly difficult, movement puzzles that use Titanfall's signature wall-running mechanics and double jumps to great effect. At the prices it's currently selling for, I can easily recommend it, even for just the gameplay of the campaign. If you're interested in the multiplayer stuff, a quick glance seems to indicate that the servers are still doing just fine, with plenty of potential allies and enemies to be found. Now come the spoilers. You play as Infantryman Jack Cooper. You'll notice that's a generic name, and that's not for nothing. My man Coop is a very generic character. Remember the whole spiel I gave you last week about how full of personality Bayek was in Assassin's Creed Origins, and how that was totally the opposite of how many other games go? This is one of those other games. Jack is supposed to be a shell waiting for the player to fill with their own personality. He does have some generic quips from time to time, if you select them, but that's about it. One of the big mechanical flaws with this game is that the majority of the story is told through in-game dialogue while you're shooting at people. This makes it hard to concentrate on the plot reveals, such as they are, but it gets worse. While you're hanging with Mr. Cooper, the game frequently gives you a chance to choose between two dialogue options, though neither of them have any effect on gameplay or story. And there is a timer. So it is particularly easy to miss these dialogue choices, as they will frequently occur while you're in the middle of a frantic gunfight. You may miss the prompt entirely, or simply not have a free finger with which to select it. The one interesting character I mentioned above is Cooper's mech. At the start of the game, a pilot tries to take Jack under his wing and train him to be a pilot as well, but a mission comes up and forces them into duty before they can complete the training. The pilot, of course, is killed during the fight and passes his mech to Cooper and begs him to take care of it. BT-7274, or BT as he prefers to be called, is straight-laced to a fault, and that provides much of the comedy. It's a little weird that his last pilot, Lastimosa, never taught him things like the thumbs-up gesture or other human idioms, but if you don't think too hard, it can still be mildly amusing at times. There is also a varied cast of wacky villains that you'll do battle with in level-ending boss fights during several chapters, but unfortunately, the truncated nature of the sparse story prevents any of these characters from being fleshed out beyond a few skin-deep tropes. Look, it's a big guy with an Austrian accent, or a crazy dude who does too many drugs, or an ice-cold woman. Oh, wait, they're all dead. The scanty saga sells short BT's journey from uptight by-the-book mech to a more human intelligence that learns the wonders of a fastball special and becomes attached enough to his pilot to willingly sacrifice himself for the good of his friend. Twice. The best way I can think of to describe the story is like if you cut out every part of T2 that wasn't gunfighting, but Arnie still finds his humanity by the end of the movie. The real strength of this game, as noted before, is the level design. The most memorable level for me was the one in which BT attempts to guide you on a shortcut through an enemy manufacturing facility, but both of you end up getting caught and forced to fight your way through every inch of it before escaping out the other side. The factory is building small replica towns for the enemy troops to practice fighting in, and Jack has to wall run, double jump, and dodge around heavy machinery for a good 20 to 30 minutes while gunfighting with a veritable army of guards and other mechs. My descriptions can't really do it justice, but the scenery is breathtaking. The combat is fast-paced, and watching all of the pieces of the testing facility come together is really quite fascinating. There are some other levels in this game that are very nearly as memorable, but I want to leave some of it for you to discover on your own. This level was when I realized that they really had put a lot of time into developing unique and special levels, even if the story did get a bit of a short shrift. The final moments of the game, unfortunately, left a bad taste in my mouth, as the story broke the cardinal rule of how to commit a fake death. BT and the Coopster are captured by the enemy mercenary leader, and all hope seems lost before BT tricks the enemy into letting him fight for one last moment. BT appears to be killed, but kills enough other people and starts enough trouble that the remainder of the enemies flee. However, a few moments later, Jack is able to recover PT's data core thingamajig and takes off after the mercenaries in one final attempt to stop them from destroying the home of the Resistance. Jack's allies drop a mech without a personality, and BT is revived for another boss fight. As soon as you win, though, BT sacrifices himself again to ensure the mission succeeds and Jack Be Nimble survives. You'll recall this complaint from the Star Wars The Last Jedi review. Do not fake kill people and then actually kill them within the same movie, video game, TV season, or book. And that is at a minimum. This moment, by the way, is not redeemed by the post-credits scene, which seems to indicate that BT may yet be alive after all. Outside of the level design and story, the gameplay itself is, again, as previously noted, really solid. There is a wide variety of guns which do a good job feeling different while all still feeling plenty lethal. The feedback when you hit an enemy is strong and it feels really good to play. The campaign is a lot of fun, as long as you don't want to spend too much time analyzing characters. Reason number 1462 not to grow up to be like me, kids. If you just want some tight shooter action with some of the best level design I've seen in ages, you could do a lot worse than Titanfall 2. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.